What's up, guys? We're back with the final review of the finale of From season 3, episode 10, Revelations part 2 or chapter 2. And that was so crazy. I actually watched this episode twice. I watched it once by myself. I watched the second go round with my mom. And I have notes and everything, y'all. I have notes. That was a season finale. I haven't seen a season finale that good and I don't know how long. I think that they really hit the ground running. I don't feel like too much time was wasted at all. And I'm just ready to get into it. So if you haven't seen the episode yet, check it out, come back because we're about to get all into it and it's going to be a lot of spoilers. So I don't want to go through the whole episode, but I definitely want to go through the big highlights. They finally found out that Elgin was the culprit. He was the op. Honestly, I'm a Boyd stan. Boyd can't really do too much wrong in my eyes. He's going to have his hands full politically or however you want to say it for next season when it comes to the trust of the town. But he takes on the burden, like he really takes that on so other people don't have to bear it. Other people don't have to make the hard decisions. I felt like I was in the room. I was scared. If I was Elgin, I would have been told them what it was. As they were cornering me when they were coming up the steps, and he was looking back. Yeah, she's at the thing outside of town. So that's his fault that he wanted to take it that far. I don't know why he thought that they were about to play with him. Yes, I'm just really thinking about season 4 and what that means as far as his character and the MVP of the episode. Where there's 2 MVPs. One being Sarah. Sarah really came through. Of what, I don't want his soul to be tarnished and whatnot. I got it. I'll get the answers. Boyd isn't going to take it far enough to get the answers from Elgin. So Sarah, that was a complete shocker. I didn't really see that coming at all. Yes, shout out to Sarah because she was able to get the information that they were looking for. The other big thing that happened this episode is Fatima had the baby. Kimono lady, I'm thinking she's for sure like this midwife evil entity that her only role is if this ever happens again, which is what happened to Smiley. If any of the monsters die, she's a part of that process of, okay, this person's going to have the baby. I'm going to make sure that we get this birth going in this root cellar so we can make sure that we have the baby and all that. Well, it's not even a baby, as we can see. That was so crazy to me. For one, they got there a little too late. It already was what it was. I don't know if it would have made a difference if they found her a little sooner, but I think that was insane to see that it was Smiley. Boyd, you couldn't pay, I would never go down there, but you do need a character to go down there. You do need someone to go and investigate and see what's going on so he can report back and they're not as blindsided of, oh, okay, Smiley's back. So I thought that was super crazy, super creepy. But what made it even more so is that you have the violin playing, which cuts back and forth to the scenes with Jade and that big, big, big revelation of we've been here before. We were Christopher and Miranda and all of those who came before. We were a part of the original people that were there and we didn't get to save our daughter. We have a daughter. It was crazy. And I don't care what anyone says. I know people don't like Jim, but I can't imagine just trying to wrap your mind around this town overall is already a lot on a family. But to know that your wife really, like she is your wife, but she's a part of some other stories and you can't even see the kids that they're talking about and talking to. Like, I just can't imagine trying to wrap my mind around all of that, to be honest. I just felt so bad for him. I already predicted that Jim was going to be out of here this season. I could tell with what they were doing with his character. He was just understanding and communicating well. He wasn't fighting everyone. He was trying to be helpful. And he's the second MVP to me because he's the one that cracked the code with the music notes. And they would have been stuck without that piece of information. They never would have had the moment where they actually remembered. So I think it was something with the music being played, the children coming out, and Cooey, and it finally hit them. And I think these memories, it seems to be come rushing back to, oh my gosh, like the big revelation. So I thought that was so crazy. Now, I did think at a point in time that when the music was being played, that was what was opening up the hatch. But now I don't think that anymore. I think that was just going to happen, regardless. I think as long as she had birth in that room, the kimono lady takes it from there. But I do think that the music summons the man in yellow. I could be mistaken. He could be already on the way regardless, because it's like, okay, y'all are getting a little too smart. This batch of folks is a little like hip, I'm just putting that together as a theory of, okay, I think the music just kind of almost opens up this new level, because it's this wave of knowledge. They're aware now. They know who they are now. And something else that I thought about is when Boyd first kills Smiley with the worms, and you saw the other monsters kind of stood over Smiley and they just walked away. They didn't eat him. They didn't kill him. They didn't retaliate. Now we know they knew he was coming back, which is crazy. They already knew, like, okay, we'll see him in a few weeks or however long it's been. We'll see him later. So I thought that was so crazy. And another thing that I saw people were talking about that it makes so much sense. Victor said when we first were introduced to Tabitha and Jade, that's so rare, two cars coming into town at the same time. I haven't seen that in a long time. And the last time that he would have really maybe been a part of that is when he came into town along with Christopher. They were always meant to do this over and over again until they can find a solution to end this whole cycle. Of course, we have the end, which was wow. R.I.P. Jim. Jim is on up out of here. He sees Julie screaming his name. She's trying to get him out of there. He's not listening. We see the man in yellow for the first time, which super creepy guy. So great casting there. But we see the man in yellow and he says, I told you to tell your wife to stop digging that hole, Jim. What? That was you on the radio? Yeah, crazy. He makes his appearance. As we can see, he's able to be out in the daytime. He definitely seems really strong. I don't think he's going to be anything to play with at all. And Julie, is very evident that her hair looks different. Future Julie, I'm assuming future Julie. And I forgot what she says word for word, but just like, oh, I think this is when it happens. So you can tell she's trying to stop something. I think she was trying to stop exactly what we're seeing, which is her father getting unalived. It wasn't successful. And I think that was the perfect ending for the season because it really sets the tone of time travel is definitely going to be a huge factor on the show, a huge element on the show. And something else before I even get into that, I hear a lot of people saying, oh, Jim didn't listen and she was trying to save him. At this point, he does look creepy, but overall, like, Jim is caught off guard. He's learning this new crazy information from his wife. It's daytime. The man looks somewhat, normal, I guess. I don't know, not normal, but you know what I mean? I think he just was caught off guard. I really don't think she could stop something like that from happening because it happens quite fast. But I could see how it just happens. So I think the daytime, they're used to monsters being at nighttime. I just don't think his brain was going that fast to be like, oh, let me, just trust Julie. If you think about it, Julie only told her mom for real and now Ethan about, okay, this is what happened to me when I was in the ruins. She hasn't really told her dad that version of that. And it's really just now when she's talking to Ethan that she's like, yeah, I think I was there. Like, I think she's just now wrapping her mind around the fact that I think I went to that time. So her dad wouldn't be looking like, it's not like they had those conversations and they were at that point to what Julie really can do for it to be like, oh, this is my daughter from the future. Okay, I'm gonna run and we're gonna catch up later and we're gonna figure out what it is. He was so caught off guard, in my opinion. So I don't know. That's how I see it. But season 4, I'm hearing, unfortunately, that the show won't be back until 2026. I don't know if that's true. It makes sense because it's November. They have to film. I think they're going to start filming in a few months. So it kind of makes sense. But maybe it'll be at the beginning of 2026. That would be great. Some things that I would be looking forward to seeing next season and just my different theories and predictions. Again, I think Kimono Lady, I think we only see her in that specific kind of scenario where a monster is killed. So I don't think we'll see anything like that again until, if it's relevant at that time. I think Fatima will have a hard time adjusting back to reality. I think because she's the one that birthed Smiley, she may have some weird kind of connection to things, or maybe certain flashes of memories or information may come just with her going through that experience. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see that whole thing come about. I think that Boyd is going to have his hands full with just, is he going to stay a sheriff? Does he even want to keep being a sheriff? It's going to be a lot of friction and a big battle with him and Acosta, I would imagine, and just how people view him. And I think that's going to come to a head, some of the things that Donna kind of was alluding to. I think that the Tilly thing, it may come out because you have to explain why Algin has no eye and his hand is messed up. I think a lot of people are going to want answers. And I think that it's going to just cause a huge divide overall within the town. So I think we're going to see a lot of that aftermath. We're going to naturally see the Matthews family mourning. I don't know how long that's going to be, but they have to mourn their dad. Like, that would be crazy if they skipped that. So I think that's going to be really tough. Maybe with Jade and Tabitha, more memories and are going to kind of come flooding back. So I think they're going to, of course, naturally be working really, really closely together. I don't know if they're going to have a love connection because I think they could keep coming back without having to be like a couple. I think it's more so we have this history. So I'm interested to see how that works. I think we're going to see a lot of what someone on YouTube, they call them the Dungeon Trio. But I think we're going to see a lot of Marielle, Julie, and Randall. I think they're going to take center stage and really be a front-running character as we figure out, do they also have the same abilities as Julie? I'm very interested in just seeing more of them and more of that because that's something that gives them maybe an advantage to at least go back and put some pieces together as far as history. But I actually have a prediction. I can see a cool opening for the series just being the man in yellow coming into town. Because at this point, I think they're going to find that out way later when Julie cuts her bob and later on at some point. But I could see him actually, like, will he be a resident in town and be more present and in the mix? And I could see that being a cool way for him to enter into town. Like, once they figure out that Jim has died, they always have to bring someone new into town. I could see him being a resident and really just blending in for a while. But they could do something like not like that at all. So I would love to know what you thought about the finale. What are you most... So I want to know, what did you think about the finale? Were you satisfied? How would you rate it from 1 to 10, with 10 being the most satisfied? And I also want to know, what are your predictions for season 4? What are you hoping to see? What are you hoping to learn? And yes, I really enjoyed this, like doing these videos. It's been super fun. I'm going to tap into some other shows. I'm currently watching Silo season 2. So I'm trying to figure out if I want to do those as formal reviews, but I'm also looking for new shows as well. I just finished Cross. So if you have any recommendations, let your girl know, and I will catch you all in another video. All right, bye.